Airbnb in. This is the way towards the center of the little Glastonbury town. Just had a talk with the host of the Airbnb, and it was like so much stuff that she was sharing with me of things that are possible to do here and people to meet, and having all kinds of ceremonies and special tours that give you exclusive insight into all the mystical and special things that are going on here. It really got me like, whoa, I was not aware that it was so much. And it's just like one of those beautiful surprises where you kind of have this intuition like, okay, this could be a cool place, but because I usually never really prepare anything before I go. I just feel that I need to go somewhere, and then to have these kinds of surprises, I really enjoy it. So I'm basically just going to get into town right now and go to a cafe she recommended, see if I can I'll just keep filming my walk so you can have my first view of it, and then have some brunch. Today is going to be a day full of meetings, but we will try to squeeze in as much things as possible. The weather is very lovely at this point, and yeah, so the idea is basically to just walk around, see if we can meet some people, walk into places, get some ideas, and then see what kind of things would pop up for me that feel like, okay, this is something that I would really like to do, and then just in that way make a little bit of a plan for the coming days, bigger trips that I might be doing in the weekend, things or tours. And yeah, this first day is just really much more for just grounding a little bit in the place and seeing what's possible. But clearly there is a lot possible. So. Got this newspaper pushed in my hand, and it's like I'll go through it a little bit more at home when I'm thing, but it's amazing. It's like full of the stuff that you would actually want to read in the newsletter. The truth. Just being in that place was so nice. You hear, like, overheard people talking about all kinds of spiritual stuff, and just talking about things that I think are important, not all the general bullshit talking about the weather, but like real stuff. It was really nice, and you had to share a table together, and you got a little bit of talking going on with people, which was just really chill. Like everything felt super comfortable and cozy. Call for work, so I'm being pulled into to that other life, which is fine. It's nice that I'm starting to at least that I'm able to combine it in this way. It's already, it feels super free and amazing to do. So, and if we're around the corner, we should see the mighty tower on the hill. Nice. The Tor. Let's go. To the Tor. Okay, and we're entering the little stairs. It's some fella, a little bit of a climb. See that? That's what I mean. And we're not even close to the top. Oh yes. It's quite a special evening. I guess you guys cannot really hear it, but I hear some drums. After the thing, it was like I just decided to, okay, let's just stay here and see what happens and try to interact a little bit with these people. So I just sat around in the drum circle and I started to clap a little bit. And it was really nice because at a certain point you really get into the drumming flow and you're just like busy and just closing your eyes and you're completely with all the wind gushing. It was really quite special, and especially after that moment that I was just filming, it was so extremely powerful that to experience the drum that was echoing in the chamber. Which just, you felt it like vibrating through your entire body, like really around your chakras and mostly your heart chakra. It was like really, really clearly noticeable, the vibrations of the bass, of the drums. And it was just with the super strong wind that was like rushing through that gate. It felt like you were completely like opened up, like all your energetically in all your energy layers, and then the wind just like rushing through you as if it was completely cleaning you and wiping the slate clean. Basically like sand washing your soul or something, like sandblasting your soul. It like, and then after that a little bit there was the moment that there were some Spanish girls also in the circle, and one of them was some kind of energy practitioner, like a stronger version of Reiki, she told me. And she initiated a little meditation circle. And that one was also really, really super powerful, where I noticed that I was probably shaking a little bit because of the cold, like tremors, like cold tremors. But then they were super amplified by all the vibrations and also of the drums and also of the meditation that was going on and the energy that was circling around in the circle, and the way that obviously she was guiding it and bringing in all that energy through that open hole in the tower. It was madness. It was really, really cool to experience. And then I got to talk a little bit with the girl, and we walked a little bit more and talked a bit, and also was for the first night it was really, really special, like without knowing what was going to happen, no plans. These kinds of experiences and interactions, it was really what to live for, something to live for. Okay, so we made it into the 100th Monkey bar. It looks pretty nice. Find a good place in the corner just to be on my own. Like I said, I was supposed to go find an electronics store, but instead I went to a charity shop and buy a nice warm sweater for these days because I highly underestimated the weather. And some fucking amazing books there, which is like £2 each. Tibetan Book of the Living and the Dying, the Upanishads. It's like something that Gregor Male is talking a lot about, referring a lot to in his books. And then the Holy Grail, Guardian and Secrets of the Holy Grail. Good stuff. It's a good start for the book hunting. So yesterday I saw this one. writing from the source. So we did some book shopping, got a whole garbage bag full, which is pretty nice. I guess way too much cool stuff, like I really had to make some specific choices, things that really called me and felt like I need that knowledge right now. And, which is also nice, Maria, the girl that did the energy circle meditation at the Tor yesterday evening. I noticed that I felt that I really met her for a reason, and also I noticed a very clear like pressure and aching of my forehead when after we did that session. So I knew she was onto something, and then I probably was supposed to meet her, and she's doing also healing sessions. I had some good conversations after as well. So I think it could be interesting to let her do a session on me while we are actually here in this environment where the energies are so conducive and powerful. Okay. So I thought it was time to do a little bit of a book geek out. And the way that I personally know a little bit or learn to know what I need to look for is because of a few YouTube channels that I watch that base their knowledge really on reading old texts of old books and old writers, and really the kind of stuff that is not really being found on the internet anymore, like not modern kind of information on spirituality, because there's so much bullshit, new age nonsense mixed into all of these things, and all kinds of alien narratives and intergalactic federations. And I must be honest to say that I have been part of these groups as well in the past, and I have been on board with that for a little bit, at least, just to see and to try what those things hold for information. But I never really felt that could be what it is truly about, because it's just too far away from the normal, far away from it's too much science fiction element of it, doing the inner work. Then there is these are the other great finds. So the Phoenix Solution, Secrets of a Lost Civilization, and We Are Not the First, Riddles of Ancient Science, Henry Thomas. This is really the kind of stuff that I like to find. These are amazing, because this is the main YouTube channel that I watch for all of my information is Archaics at this point. They are just by far the most complete and most credible in explaining everything that is going on. And the Phoenix Solution is really about the fact that there are cycles of resets of civilizations growing up and being destroyed through cataclysms that are based on a fixed period of time, in where these cataclysms and these resets occur, and all the chronologies that are kind of a part of that, all the calendars that of all these different ancient civilizations which they used. And this guy did like an amazing job on matching all those chronologies and coming with this hypothesis. It's not this writer, but the Archaics channel comes with like really interesting research of finding this periodicity in resets of civilizations and bringing back things to and the build up of civilizations. And for example, a book like this, We Are Not the First, this one is still alluding a little bit to space and aliens, which is I think a bit misleading, but what this book does, and it's really amazing, like it kind of shows all kinds of inventions that we think that we are the first in our time to have progressed so much technologically that we figure that stuff out. But he shows through all kinds of research from the ancient times that all kinds of civilizations have already figured this kind of stuff out before us. So, for example, penicillin was known in ancient Egypt thousands of years before Fleming. Ancient Hindu book 230 stanzas gives detail in instructions of the construction of aircraft ages before the Wright brothers. Atomic theory was worked out by Democritus 2500 years before Rutherford. Robots and computers were a reality centuries before Norbert Wiener. The map of Zeno of 1380 shows Greenland as it, it's maybe not that interesting, but there's an interesting thing about, let's see, where was it? Here. So this one about the robots and computers were a reality centuries before Norbert Wiener. The early inhabitants of England had used the computer in Stonehenge, to forecast solar and lunar eclipses. So that's pretty cool, because that's applicable, of course, to where we are right now. And here in the end, there's a really nice summary of all kinds of technologies that were already known in antiquity and that are discovered by the people that we think that have actually figured this stuff out. But it's like atomic theory was already known by these people around these times and rediscovered by us around these ages. So it does that for all kinds of things. Theory of relativity, the age of the Earth, sunspots, the Milky Way, electric batteries, aviation, robots and computers, city planning, vaccination, penicillin. All these things were already invented in antiquity. So that really shows that, like, what we currently are being told as, are made to believe that we are the most advanced civilization, and that it basically all was evolution and building up to the high point that we're at right now. These kinds of books, they really show that is not the case, that there were civilizations before us that were way more advanced and already figured a lot of this stuff out in their own cycles, but they rose and they fell again through all kinds of different cataclysms that happened. So that's pretty cool. Then maybe on that kind of knowledge and the kind of books that I really like to base my thinking on is like stuff that's really from the old mystery schools. So things like the Tibetan Book of the Living and the Dying, the Upanishads, or the yogic philosophies and Vedas, and then the stuff like the secret societies like the Templars and the Holy Grail, which is especially relevant again here in. Okay, so this is pretty fucking epic. I just started to look for a few books. I googled them in order to check if they were also on the list of archaics books that he recommends to read. And the first one that I checked is the Phoenix Solution. And it misses the cover like this one, you kind of still to recognize it, but it's like also a black book with letters like this, so it's quite similar. But I checked it online, and then I looked at it, and then the hardcover book apparently is 95 euros, is it? Not sure if it zooms, but so this book is $95 to buy hardcover, and I paid, I think, like 5 or 8 pounds for it in the store. Then the next one, I checked this one. We are not the first, the one that I checked. Hardcover, it's also special. Here it says $96 to buy this one hardcover. And okay, I bought this for quite a lot. This was 85. So yeah, some pretty epic stuff. And really cool that I found this. Was quite the investment. This one was probably the most expensive. It was like, I think, 85 pounds. But it's like a hardcover book, and I know that this was covered by Jason Bashir's of Archaics, and he said, like, if you ever come across this book, make sure that you buy it, because this is fucking epic. So that makes me happy, like a kid in a candy store. That's what I felt like. But I also had my urges provided for with reading about, with being in those shops. I feel like that's enough for now. I put enough money into this. It is actually getting quite an expensive trip, but I also feel that it's really an investment in myself to be here and to make use of this situation as much as possible, so that I can really go on for a little while again with all the inspiration and all the things that I'm taking in here to produce some stuff on my own and get to it. So I think I'm gonna just read a little bit, check some stuff out, enjoy it, and we'll see what happens later. That's the end of book club. Join the Yours to Source email course today, subscribe to my mailing list, and ensure you never miss a step on this journey of spiritual growth. Your path to aligning with Source and discovering how it wants to express itself through you begins here.